Hi again. Christianity and the Social Crisis. We're at the very last 2 pages now, in the last chapter, What to Do. In asking for faith in the possibility of a new social order, we ask for no utopian delusion. We know well that there is no perfection for man in this life. There is only growth toward perfection. In personal religion, we look with seasoned suspicion at anyone who claims to be holy and perfect, yet we always tell men to become holy and to seek perfection. We make it a duty to seek what is unattainable. We have the same paradox in the perfectibility of society. We shall never have a perfect social life, yet we must seek it with faith. We shall never abolish suffering. There will always be death and the empty chair and heart. There will always be the agony of love and return. Women will long for children and never press baby lips to their breast. Men will long for fame and miss it. Imperfect moral insight will work hurt in the best conceivable social order. The strong will always have the impulse to exert their strength, and no system can be devised which can keep them from crowding and jostling the weaker. Increased social refinement will bring increased sensitiveness to pain. An American may suffer as much distress through a social slight as a Russian peasant under the knout. At best, there is always but an approximation to a perfect social order. The kingdom of God is always but coming. But every approximation to it is worthwhile. Every step toward personal purity and peace, though it only makes the consciousness of imperfection more poignant, carries its own exceeding great reward. An everlasting pilgrimage toward the kingdom of God is better than contented stability in the tents of wickedness. And sometimes the hot hope surges up that perhaps the long but slow climb may be ending. In the past, the steps of our race toward progress have been short and feeble, and succeeded by long intervals of sloth and apathy. But is that necessarily to remain the rate of advance? In the intellectual life, there has been an unprecedented leap forward during the last 100 years. This written, of course, 1907. Individually, we are not more gifted than our grandfathers, but collectively we have wrought out more epoch-making discoveries and inventions in 1 century than the whole race in the untold centuries that have gone before. If the 20th century could do for us in the control of social forces what the 19th did for us in the control of natural forces, our grandchildren would live in a society that would be justified in regarding our present social life as semi-barbarous. Since the Reformation began to free the mind and to direct the force of religion toward morality, there has been a perceptible increase of speed. Humanity is gaining in elasticity and capacity for change, and every gain in general intelligence, in organizing capacity, in physical and moral soundness, and especially in responsiveness to ideal motives, again increases the ability to advance without disastrous reactions. The swiftness of evolution in our own country proves the immense latent perfectibility in human nature. Last May, a miracle happened. At the beginning of the week, the fruit trees bore brown and greenish buds. At the end of the week, they were robed in bridal garments of blossom. But for weeks and months, the sap had been rising and distending the cells and maturing the tissues which were half ready in the fall before. The swift unfolding was the culmination of a long process. Perhaps these 19 centuries of Christian influence have been a long preliminary stage of growth, and now the flower and fruit are almost here. If at this juncture we can rally sufficient religious faith and moral strength to snap the bonds of evil and turn the present unparalleled economic and intellectual resources of humanity to the harmonious development of a true social life, the generations yet unborn will mark this as that great day of the Lord, for which the ages waited, and count us blessed for sharing in the apostolate that proclaimed it. And so ends Christianity and the Social Crisis. His confidence, 1907, is so marked and pretty remarkable. But, of course, World War I and then World War II changed everything. Some have made the case that Rauschenbusch even died under the stress of the disappointment, both to his personal work at that point, which was being repudiated by many of his fellow fellow ministers, as well as the people that they controlled or at least influenced in those World War I days. Not just the personal disappointment of their response to his work, though. It was the disappointment of the war itself and America's involvement in it. I'll put in a link to a discussion by Merrill Tenney. I believe it's 7 videos that are linked together. The first of which is talking about the different options when it comes to prophecy, because obviously the optimism and confidence of Rauschenbusch here is what we would call postmillennial. That was the dominant eschatology of that period. Premillennialism seemed like an aberration, although it was actually a return to the earliest doctrine of the church on eschatology. So Tenney's discussion in those 7 videos is on the various options: premillennialism, postmillennialism, or amillennialism, and what are the strengths and the weaknesses of each position. The first one's on your screen. Also, I'll put in a playlist to the entire series that we've done here, completed today, on Christianity and the Social Crisis, Walter Rauschenbusch. See you soon.